arm slipped off the bar and he rolled by the readjust, and that it still wasn't quick enough anyway.
I heard you talking. That happened on the first lap. You were talking to your engineers, right?
Yeah, happened on the first lap, and then I grabbed the wrong bar, adjusted down the wrong way. So yeah, it's, you know, I think we need to find speed anyway.
Disappointment out of Will Power, Lindy.
Well, not here with Alex Tagliani. In fact, he said, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is a good car. What else can you say, though?
Nothing. Just amazing job from the engineer staff at Fast Race Team. Alan McDonald, Alex Timmermans, Brandon Cleve, I mean, Robert Gouet. It's just like an amazing job. And the boys in the team just, you know, fine-tuning this car every single day. I mean, we've been fast, and they could have left the garage, you know, any time, but they just keep, you know, tuning it, and it's what we are here right now.
Thank you, Alex. And it seemed like the car was so stable for him. He could have a pretty short track out there. And Bob, last night, he even wrote his crew a thank you note for the car they gave him.
Well, it's performed well, and so has tags. And the laps for Marco Andretti keep going up in speed. He was at 224.577, then 224.587, and 224.650. And he's a half a lap away from the checkered flag.
Obviously showing that car's really got some great adjustability, just whether he's doing a little bit of wake jacker. We heard Will talk about when he hit the bars and then he went for the wrong one. Well, Marco's doing a great job of staying ahead of his car to go faster. As Jan said earlier, those last two laps of 3 and 4, that's the tough one to maintain the speed.
Unless your car is too planted and it's easier.
Yeah.
It's harder to stay on the edge when you're faster. It's not as hard when you're slower. And I'm sure he would rather have the speed and lose a little than be consistent all the way through.
Fourth lap was as slow as 224.485. The average is 224.575 for Marco Andretti. He is P3 at the moment. And next out to qualify will be the defending champion of the Indianapolis 500, Helio Castroneves. He will be next on the racetrack. Pressure on for qualifying also with Helio Castroneves. Now looks like Scott Dixon will be next after Helio Castroneves.
Helio Castroneves, São Paulo, Brazil, Team Penske.
You know, going for a Indy 500, you have Rick Mears always says you have two types of races. First one is for qualifying and one the actual race. The reason that he says qualifying, it's so difficult because you have 4 laps. But remember, 4 laps in the above 220 miles an hour is the most difficult thing because you gotta hit the marks every time on the same spot. And when you're going for the first lap, the second lap the tires start going away, the third lap the weather starts changing. The fourth lap, you put everything together, and now you're going for the limit that the car can handle. So it's one of the toughest, hardest plays to qualify. But when you succeed, it's the best, it's the greatest joy.
The green flag comes out. Helio Castroneves looking for his 4th victory a week from tomorrow in the 500-mile races on his qualifying run.
Didn't he just summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
The intensity, the pressure, and how it changes from corner to corner, lap to lap, and you just never know quite what you have, and you got to keep challenging the race car. But when it's done, and it's done the way you wanted, there is nothing more satisfying with all the effort.
And he just did 231.1 turning into turn number 1.
And not lifting.
First lap about to be completed for Helio. Let's see what it is. It is 226.563. 226.5, Jack.
And boy, based upon that, guys, he is going much faster than he did in his best 4 consecutive non-tow laps. His first lap in his best was 225.977. His average total was 226.010. I think he's on a flyer, fellas.
Yes, and we should point out, look on the upper right of the screen, that red right now, 0.027, will change either from red or to green. Red meaning that he's short of where Tagliani is, and you can see that gap is coming down. Just fractionally slower than what Tagliani has at that point in his run.
226.396, just a little slower.
Look at that, 004. Looks like that thing's going to turn green soon. Oh, slipped a little. It shows you it's just thousandths of a second in every corner.
And every corner is different, just a little different precision, precise. And again, he's tuning that car to get the most out of it with what he can in the cockpit.
He got up to 231.3 that time in the trap speed. You're turning the wheel into turn 1 at over 231 miles an hour. Wow, that's
no thanks.
and hoping you come out in the right place.
Yeah, really. There's tags on the right. He's P1 at the moment. Third lap for Elio, 226.309. Still a little bit slower, but very consistent. And speaking of consistent, Marco Andretti's run is the most consistent today so far. He varied 294 ten-thousandths of a second from his fastest to slowest.
And remember how important this is with these times that are being posted. This is what's going to determine what you pick for your pits.
Yep.
It's not going to be in the pole shootout. It's going to be the fastest of the top 24 gets the first choice of pits, which is crucial here.
Very much so for race day. Here's the checkered flag for Elio Castroneves. And he has completed his first qualifying run. It's a 226.285. Again, every lap was down a little bit. The average is 226.388. He is P2 at the moment, next to Alex Tagliani.
And I would have to say that would be Alex's biggest worry. And if you see Castroneves not beat you, you're thinking, I'm looking good.
Scott Dixon will be the next out to qualify. Robbie Floyd.
I'm with Marco Andretti, who you said was the most consistent out there, but not consistently the speed you were looking for.
Yeah, it's easy to be consistent at those speeds, but no, to be honest, we were hanging on to the thing. I mean, end to end, I was all over the cockpit tools, just trying to bring the balance, and we were really loose on that run for some reason. But you know, I doubt you've seen the last of us today.
Well, guys, you talked about it. He either had a lot of maneuverability with those tools, or he had too much grip, and obviously he had that maneuverability going.
Scott Dixon on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This will be his 8th start in an Indianapolis 500, and his best finish was in 2008. He won.
On the pole for the 92nd running of the Indianapolis 500, Scott Dixon.
They call him the Iceman, but today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he is red hot, and he is the winner of the 92nd Indianapolis 500-mile race.
You start first, you finish first. It could not get any better.
Scott Dixon, also the champion of the IZOD IndyCar Series in 2003 and in 2008. 29-year-old driver from Auckland, New Zealand.
And you'd be hard-pressed to not really kind of put him as the favorite here. He's got the momentum of winning at Kansas City. Sure, they got off to a tough start this year, but winning at Kansas City, what that team has done here at the Speedway, what Dixon's capable of doing. He's got Mike Hull on his headset, that experience, that confidence. Tough guy to bet against come race day.
They are not where they would like to be qualifying-wise, though. No, I think we've seen that throughout the practice. Early on, he was right up there, but they haven't really delivered, and you can see by the ruler, that's not quite what we would typically expect. They've been searching for a bit of speed in this 4-lap trim. Already 2/10 back. So in effect, you're looking for a number here. He'll have this on his dash. They'll be looking for a number here to guarantee you get into the shootout, which would be 9. So in other words, your expectations actually shift as you start the run. You're almost, it's more on pit road than it is behind the cockpit, but it's essentially, okay, not quite enough speed for pole, but make sure I get a number in here that'll take me to the top 9 and get in the pole shootout.
Yeah, that's a great thing, is they knew that he wasn't going to be in P1, but we don't want to drop off so much that takes us out of being in the top 9 to transfer to the shootout.
Which is completely new this year. Last year, you never even had that dynamic. You either make a run for the pole. Now we're talking P1 at the pole. It's hard to say he's on a pole run because you're not. That's later, and it's a new mindset.
And what's going to make the day really exciting as we get into about that 3:30 hour, that last half hour of track time to try and make the top 24, yes, but then the top 9 is going to be a great format.